Alright, I guess I'll just start this video by saying I'm not sure why, but I kind of look like Dan Howell in this screenshot. Not sure if it's the black jean jacket or the perpetually annoyed half smile, but I guess that is the vibe we're going with. Hello, my name is Elise, and if you're like me, then at this point of the year, it has become super busy. Whether you have gone back to school, or you're working, or if you're like me and you're a full-time college student who's also working almost full-time, then you know that it's been super hard to keep that motivation up or even find time to read, or at least make sure it's still enjoyable. So in this video, I'm gonna go over some of the ways that I use to manage my time so that way I still can find time to read and actually enjoy reading without feeling stressed. So my first way to stay motivated for reading is to accept that you are busy. For almost every single school year, I've kind of just completely fallen off the boat with reading. And even when I do have reading time, I just choose not to because I feel like I've already read nothing, so why not continue that? That's not a great mindset. So if you are busy, then that's great. School is great, be educated, all of that, but yeah, you probably won't have time to read as much as you had maybe during the summer. So once you can accept that maybe the books you read will be a little less, then it'll probably be a bit easier to actually enjoy what you're reading. But also, if you do not have any time now to read anything, that's also okay. Remember, reading is fun, it is not an obligation. Unless you're in school and it's an obligation. But reading for fun, it's supposed to be for fun. My second way is to use audiobooks. I've always been pretty against audiobooks because I find it hard to pay attention to audiobooks, but recently I have found that that was totally a savior for me to continue reading. I like to use audiobooks when I have time, but I can't actually read a physical book. So maybe when I'm folding laundry or walking the dog. I also like to use audiobooks to listen to while I'm reading a physical book. That way the audio keeps me going and allows me to continue reading even if I space out for a second, but that way I actually have a physical book in front of me. And one thing I do want to mention with audiobooks is if you are like me and you tend to space out, keep in mind that it's okay. No one's judging you if you don't remember every detail of a book. So forgive yourself. That's gonna be the message for this video. It's okay. And then one last thing on audiobooks, I tend to find it easier to listen to audiobooks that are about less complex stories, like contemporary fiction, for example, or even nonfiction. I just find that easier to get back into if, for a second, I stop listening or paying attention. It's much easier to get back into than perhaps a fantasy. But more complex books like fantasy, those are great if you're reading the book along with it. My next point is to read books that are a bit shorter. Novellas work great for this. I find books in verse to be awesome for this. I love books in verse, and if that's not for you, try listening to the audiobook versions because they sound like normal books as an audiobook, but usually they're only like 4 or 5 hours. Keep in mind that reading is not about the quantity of books you read, but if you're like me and you kind of lose inspiration, motivation, if you're not finishing books, shorter books are great to feel like you're actually making progress. Next is to pay attention to the format of the books you're reading. You may have a preference for one kind of format, and by format I mean physical books, ebooks, audiobooks, anything like that. But I found it easier to change the kind of book I read based on where I am. For example, I love reading physical books at home, but if I am doing something, again, like walking the dog, an audiobook is the best option. Or if I'm going out somewhere, I usually find it easier to read an ebook because I just feel like that's easier to transport places and it's just easier to quickly take out of a bag and start reading. Then for the next part of this video, we're going to head to a different part of my room. Hi, and welcome to my TBR board. So my next point for how you can maintain motivation for reading during the school year is to keep track of the books you want to read, or maybe have to read because they're arcs. Now, TBRs don't work for everyone, so if you're a mood reader, don't stick to a TBR. TBRs usually put me in reading slumps, but I find it nice to keep track of some of the things I have to read. So on this TBR board of mine, and I'm using a whiteboard. You might want to just write it on your phone or make a journal. I've seen people do spreadsheets. Just somehow, I usually like to have a list somewhere because it keeps me on track. So on my TBR board, I have a section called arcs, and I have all the arcs I need to read. I also have the date they're coming out, all in order, so that way I know when I have to read them by. Here's just a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. I have all the dates there, the titles. I also have a cute little sign that says arcs. I also sometimes put more than just arcs on there, but I am more of a mood reader, so I don't like to stick to a very set TBR. These are just examples of books that I do have to read. My next point is to buddy read. It can be nice to read a book with someone else because it'll keep you motivated to continue with a book. You can find people to buddy read on Twitter, or that's what I usually use. I'm sure there's people on Instagram or BookTube or anything. If you ask me on Twitter to buddy read with you, I probably will. But on my little board here, I do have a little section for buddy reads. Hi Kaylee, if you're watching, but as you can see, I have the title of the book and who I'm reading with, and I just have some goals for the dates and the chapters. Just so you know, I ended up not finishing this book, and once again, that's okay. Life happens. And also, just while we're here, I do have another little thing. I have a list of bookish related things that I can do if I have free time. I like to put lists places because I feel like that motivates me to do something when I have downtime. My next way to keep reading during the school year is to join a book club or a Read-A-Thon. Up here I have Becca's Book-Oplathon. I have a vlog on that coming out at the end of the month if you're interested. But yeah, I have printed out the board for this Read-A-Thon. I have all the instructions. Not all read-a-thons are like that, where you have something you need to print out, but I just find it fun to print out the prompts if there are prompts, and just have a way to visualize the requirements for this read-a-thon. If you don't know where to find read-a-thons or book clubs, there's announcement videos on YouTube, lots of Twitter accounts that have information. I'm sure I've seen stuff on Instagram. They're all over the place, but I do think these are a fun way to choose books to read and to actually read them. Next is to reread a book you love. You might not be moving along with your TBR, but it's nice to read something, and to read a book that you know you already enjoy, that might make it easier for you to finish something. And then my last way to stay motivated during the school year when it comes to reading is to put that book down if you are not enjoying it. It's okay to not finish a book. I tend to push through books I don't like, and I feel like that stops me from making progress with other books. So if you are not enjoying a book, stop reading it. Go read something you will enjoy. All right, I guess I will be doing my outro by my lovely whiteboard over here. So thank you for watching. I hope this does help you manage your time and stay motivated right now as things get super busy. Thank you again for watching, and like, subscribe, comment if you enjoyed, and I will see you next video. I'm working between 32 to 39 hours a day,